How you guys feeling? What's up, Adzi? How you feeling today, mate? Thanks for joining us. Wonder if WardiBot would ever time out Wardy. Nuh-uh, he ain't allowed. He ain't allowed. He can try. He wouldn't get very far. He would be wasting his little bot powers. His little bot brain. His bot battery. As we do have two players who are some of the very best in the world at each of their respective races. To the bottom right hand side of the map, from Team Liquid, the red Zerg player, give it up for Snute. Hatch Gas Pool is the opening here on Newkirk Precinct for him. As to the top bottom left hand side, from Ting, it is Neeb. The world is exploding because it does not understand how these two players could be playing in the same group in the round of 16. And then you realize this group also consists of a few players who are also pretty good, such as Cyril and Biol. What? This is going to be an insane group. Some PvZ and ZvZ with, again, some of the very best in the world. Biol came through his group second yesterday, losing to Harston. While Cyril topped his group, Snute came second in his group to Bly, who obviously just advanced to the round of 8 as well. Neeb topping his group without issue also. Again, this is best of 5, and we are going to be sticking with this group for the next 3.5 hours, I want to say. 3.5 hours, I think it is. So we're going to be sticking with this group for 3.5 hours, and we'll just be leaving at 3.5 hours because that's when Group A and B start. And obviously for us, it doesn't make sense to continue casting Group C, which Base Trade is casting, if we can jump into Groups A or Group B. So that is the plan. And that is what we're going to be aiming for, hoping for. As you do see these couple of lings coming up the ramp, Zealot here going to swipe once, swipe twice. Two lings take damage on the way in, but they're not going to go down, as they do make it all the way in towards the main base to, again, just have a little bit of a scout here in the early stages. Twilight Council's about halfway done. Robo Facility has a follow-up from Neeb, as he just sets up into... Ooh, he tried to hide the Twilight Council off to the side here, but Snute getting in with the Zerglings obviously is able to find that, locate it, and that is obviously great information for him. Archon drops then in the early stages. Neeb will throw down this Dark Shrine in just a few moments. There, he's actually going to throw the Dark Shrine down to the low ground, just try and hide it a little bit further. But again, Snute scouted, he knows the possibility of Dark Templar. He shouldn't be dying to the DTs. Now, he should just be worrying about the Archon drops, which is definitely the kind of real scare factor. I mean, DTs are scary, you know, you can die to the DTs. But it's the Archon drops that have so much micro ability. You know, DTs, you throw down spores, you're prepared, you win. Well, you don't win, you just don't die. But the Archon drop is something that's much more complex to hold off against, so that's what, again, Snute will have to be a little bit careful of here as we set up into this first game. And again, best of 5 between Neeb and Snute. Like, what a 6 series this is going to be. Like, truly and honestly, this is going to be so awesome. So awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. You know, in a way, I know we're going to be sad when we have to leave Group C behind and not cast Group C any longer and we switch to Group A and B, but I'm really glad that we at least get to cast Snute Neeb in the first series, because I feel this really could be one of the sicker ones. In a way, I sort of want Neeb to win, only because I want to see if we can get in the winners match as well, which would also be PvZ rather than another ZvZ. Because I think Neeb against either Cyril or Neeb against Biol would also be pretty fantastic. Roach Warren will finish up here in the back of this mineral line, and as the Roach Warren finishes up, there's just going to be a whole bunch of Roaches starting to build. Snute just preparing against, again, the Archon drop. There's the DT is going to get pushed away. Nice defense with the Spore Crawler. Queen's blocking the DT's access to the Spore Crawler so they can't just target it down. And there are the Archons starting to morph on in. So the Archon drop stage of this begins as, whoa, Neeb just going to go all in. He's going to add up to, he's going to add on 4 gateways, which with our mathematical skills we can tell is 8 gates total, With Blink coming through too, he just wants to do damage with these Archons and then change it up in towards that position where he's going to be playing with a big 2-base attack. This was very popular at the start of 2017. It's something that did fall away a little bit in recent times, but has started to make a little bit of a comeback as well, as the Dark Templar, the Archon drop play, has once again become a popular way to open in the matchup. Now, Snute so far is still just massing up roaches. Oh, did he kill an Archon? That's a mistake by Neeb, of course. I mean, you do not want to be losing an Archon in this sort of situation. The whole idea is that you do as much damage as you can with the Archons to slow the Zerg down, which makes it less likely for them to be able to hold on against the 8 gates of Blink Stalkers that are going to come rampaging through the center of Newkirk. But losing an Archon means there's one less Archon in the fight later, one less Archon to deal damage with now. Big mistake by Neeb right there. Second Archon will be kept alive as it continues to try and harass. Now, he is going to throw down a third Nexus, but you can see right here already, he is not making any further probes or anything like that. This third Nexus is very much so something for him to kind of throw back to if this attack doesn't quite finish off Snute. The thing is, Snute is almost kind of all in and into what is a hell of a lot of Stalkers in these 8 gateways. He's only been making units for the last few moments. He hasn't gone past 47 drones himself, so both players are on this sort of 47 work account, massing up units. Question is, which does it work out better for? We're going to see this Archon is going to be in trouble. It's out of range of the Prism. It will not be lifted up and saved. Yeah, maybe somehow. No, it does get caught. Nah, Snute just has way too much. I mean, Neeb doesn't have any tech in this army any longer. Both Archons are dead. One from earlier, one just now. And the Roaches and Ravagers just keep on pushing forwards. Neeb will type out GG. Snute takes game number 1 just like that. To see when we're casting again in the future. We're going to be live every day for the upcoming week. And hopefully every day for the upcoming month, as we really just don't have anything else to do other than cast StarCraft. Imagine that, amazing. So lots of stuff coming up, so do again consider hitting that follow button. And if you're really enjoying the show, do consider hitting us up with a sub or a donation or whatever else to help support the stream and to keep us as a full-time StarCraft 2 channel. Top left-hand side, Red Protoss player from Ting. It is Neeb. Down a game and going up against the 12th pool. From our blue Zerg player bottom right, Team Liquid Snute. Problem is for Snute here, is that this probe is going to come across and he's just going to scout it instantly. Which means that Snute is, right from the get-go, is going to be a little bit of an issue. Right from the very start. So, you're going to see this probe patrolling around in the natural expansion. And again, as the spawning pool finishes up in the back of the main base, I'm just going to be seeing the hatchery. Sorry, the Sixlings and the Queen will start. The hatchery will come up shortly afterwards. But again, I mean, you're not really... Neeb just throws down a Nexus first. He's... You know that feeling when you're so confident against the 12 pool, you still go Nexus first? Now he'll go double gateway. This side will still be unwalled, though. Adds on another pylon. That's smart. Make sure he doesn't lose the first pylon and loses the power to the gate. I still find it kind of funny, the fact that he went Nexus first after scouting this. Man. Gateway comes down and Snute will just have to go around the sides. I mean, there's no way he can realistically come up here and do very much. That said, actually, because it's Nexus first, there's going to be a long time in this where... Okay, that's fair enough. So, we're going to have a couple moments here while we recover. We resume. And Snute is no longer tilted. Hey, it's a good thing we got the STI tilter mode. Literally, an entirely new reason to use the tilter mode. When your screen gets tilted and you can't fix it. Alright. So, let's do this. Going to be seeing the things just moving forwards and just going to be seeing the probe. Is going to be chased on down. I mean, again, there's not really going to be anything different about this right away. And we're going to get to this point now. This is where we resumed from, and it is so far exactly the same. So really no difference is made at this point. The thing with the 12 pool is you're going to end up a little bit... This is why I don't actually like the Nexus first at all, because he's going to lose a gateway. Like, he just cannot protect this gateway against these Zerglings, right? Zealot will get out, sure. But then what? He's going to lose this gateway, then he's going to lose this gateway. Like, Neeb might be in trouble. Because the Zealot can go down. Probes will pull down because he knows he needs the probes here to help him fight. Is that a wall there? Wow, the Zealot will survive for now. Snute trying to pull back a probe, sneak through. Zealot still fighting as... Snoot's still trying to make this happen, obviously. Trying to come forwards. If he could get another 2 probe kills or so, this would be fantastic, I think. As we're going to be seeing the Lings just kind of coming across. And just going to see those things kind of moving forwards. I don't think this is going to actually change things at all, really. Like, the way things went. Like, Snute only made 8 Lings the first time. He was already droning. And he's done exactly the same here, so... He's done the exact same thing. I know this is obviously a weird situation. But he's pretty much done the exact same thing. I mean, it's not like Snute's trying to cheat or anything, right? Like, we could genuinely see that his screen was tilted and that he couldn't, that he couldn't fix it. It was just when he started playing with the tilted screen, I was just like, well, that's kind of, that's kind of awkward, isn't it? Oh, it's kind of dumb. Are you guys excited for the WCS finals where we both players tilt their screens and get it stuck? Let's see, these couple of adepts do move on forwards here, and obviously this is the issue for Snute generally at this point, that he has to make more Lings rather than droning at this stage of the game to make sure he can survive the kind of the unit production that came in from the Protoss player. Using the Adepts to help pick off the Zealot a little bit faster, but look at all these drones just not mining for so long here. Adepts will shade up into the main base, and now they can target down some more drones. Lings a little bit stuck behind the mineral line, but they do clean out. Only 2 workers lost, but obviously one of the biggest part of this is the fact that, you know, Neeb caused so much lost mining time. And that is obviously just going to cut into Snute's potential production and everything else as well. Stargate on the way, which I love, because obviously Snute being behind on workers, the last thing he wants to do is lose a couple more here and there to an Oracle. But not only that, he's already going to be forced to lose a couple, essentially, because he has to build a Spore Crawler in each of his mineral lines to be super safe, otherwise he's going to be at threat of even losing even more workers. So it's already triple Spore coming down, and Neeb just kind of forcing more and more kind of damage onto Snute so far, basically. Snute flies by, he sees this Oracle, which is building up. Oracle will finish in just a few moments' time, and again, a few drones of Snute just going to pull over to the side, just saturating the third base. I mean, he's droning heavily right now. Very heavily, and in a way, he can get away with it. And he is going to get away with it, I think. I mean, how many Adepts are there? There's 6. He just needs to make sure he's got units up against these Adepts. All in all, it's turning into an okay game for Snute. He's recovered the kind of income disadvantage. Neeb in general should be at a small lead in this game, but it's nothing that a good engagement, a kind of a small mistake from Neeb, can overwrite and kind of be used to kind of like reset things, I suppose. Adepts do shade on forwards now, and this is where Snute is once again going to be forced into further unit production rather than just being able to drone freely. And that's obviously exactly what Neeb wants to keep on forcing, as the Oracle came in for just 1 kill, pushed away by the 2 queens. But again, Adepts, a lot of them shading forwards. There's all the Lings up on this high ground. The idea is he doesn't want to let those Adepts shade. Wow, really last minute cancel. And the Adepts will just pull away. Again, they can't really kind of allow themselves to commit up there because they get surrounded so quickly. You can then sort of sit on this ramp and harass forwards if they find the opportunity. Lings will come forwards here now as well. Good control out of Snute, just going to make sure he doesn't lose anything, although a 1 HP queen is a little bit fortunate. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, it was a nice pullback, obviously, but realistically, that is a little bit lucky out of Snute. You got to give some credit where credit is due. That was just, not credit where credit is due. What's the opposite of that? You got to be realistic sometimes and just say, yeah, that was a little bit fortunate. The 2 Oracles do fly around then and obviously come in towards the third base. They can jump between bases quite nice, and you can see now the perfect example as well. He's going to lose the Oracle. Didn't come out of range of the Spore to allow it to reset onto the other Oracle. / good target firing from Snute potentially. We just killed one of those, so Neeb a little bit greedy there. 3 workers, but the Oracle goes down. Snute will be happy for that. And as he goes into a few more Lings, he's way down on workers again, though. You can see that Neeb up on 69, going up to 70. He's going to be on the good 3 base saturation for himself. Yes, he's going to have 3 bases of workers. Snute's going to be like 10 workers down, going up into a 4th hatchery. I mean, Snute's going to play this aggressive kind of Ling Bane Hydra. No, actually he's not. He's going Infestors. Infestation Pit. Ooh. No, he has got Hydras, though. Hydra Den on the way down. Upgraded muscular augments. I was wondering there for a moment, I was like, well, is that right? I was like a little bit confused in my mind. I was like, huh? What? Oracle comes up through the top and then is going to come down towards the lower left. Have a look to see what's going to be happening, what's going on. And again, Psystorm is on the way up here from Neeb. And as the Oracle comes down to the south side of the map, well, it's going to be able to, again, just keep on harassing, keep on looking for opportunities. Right now, it should mostly be looking for revelations, keeping track of the Zerg army, letting him know what's going on. He sees the hive here, not the hive, sorry, the infestation prince, so he knows the potential for the hive. Now he sees the hive, sorry. My clairvoyance was coming through once again. Sometimes you just can't help becoming a bit of an oracle myself when the oracle flies into the main like that. He sees the hive timing, which is nice, of course, so he knows what Snute is sort of heading in towards. And again, I mean, a hive this quickly against, with Lingbane Hydra, it just sort of screams Broodlords, but we don't see a Spire yet, so I wonder what the other choices are for Neeb. Vipers aren't really that viable given the situation, because Neeb has feedback, so Vipers from Snute would just get feedback, generally. He's going to throw down the Spire. Again, I mean, obviously, usually the Spire comes down at the exact same time as the hive, because they have the exact same build time. Means that as soon as the hive finishes, you can go into that Greater Spire. Maybe there's a little bit of a reason, though. I mean, maybe there's something which is a little bit kind of niche, which is like, maybe like he's going to start adrenal glands first, and so he doesn't have the gas for Greater Spire until the Spire finishes. It's very possible that Snute has timed things out like this, because, I mean, he's a very good player. He plays this game all day. He knows exactly how things work in that sort of scenario. We're going to see, whoa, no Banes here. Does he actually have a... He does have a Bane nest, okay. He does have Bane speed. Now he's going to get his Lings caught a little bit over this side. Another force field. Lings still managed to find a gap to get back through. Scary couple of moments. Now Snute can start morphing Banes. Only 18 of them though. Plus 2 melee. A few seconds away from finishing up. Storm available on those High Templar. And Neeb pressing forwards. Does he want to commit though? 31 Banes about to finish. It's going to be difficult for him to engage into this. A lot of Zealots into the main. Love it. Cancels the warp in. But it does give him the chance to move down into position on this low ground. And so... that makes life a bit more difficult, because Storm doesn't connect. Actually, Neeb, a little bit of a missed target right there. A little bit of a small misplay, I guess. Flip Beacon and another Stargate on the way. Neeb, of course, again, he saw the initial hive timing, so he knows when he needs the Tempest up by. And so he's going to start building up in towards that in the near future. I mean, in this sort of PvZ scenario, you can't really get away with just staying on this ground army forever, because then you get to the point where you just don't have an answer to Broodlords, and that makes life very, very difficult for the Protoss. So we really are at this point, unless Neeb finds a way to engage and take a really good fight very shortly, we're getting to the sort of stage of the game, as that's again another bit of a wasted Storm, I would say, one Hydra. We're getting to the stage of the game where we're expecting to go super late with both players. I mean, once you hit Broods versus Tempest, the game doesn't just end in one attack usually. Usually it does go on a while as, whoa! Did he just lose all of his High Templar? Did he just lose everything? I like pulling back of the Banes there. It might seem like killing the, the Immortals is a great idea, but I think the reality is the Banes are going to be more valuable if you keep moving forwards in the next few seconds. There's another Stasis Ward to the left. The Hydras are going to get caught by it! That's really fortunate for Neeb, because actually he's really not in a position to fight at the moment. Snute might just send some more Banes in anyways, try and hit those High Templar. We're going to see the Archons morphing, because Neeb knows he's under heavy pressure. Neeb is in trouble. I don't understand. I mean, he must have lost the High Templar back there, right? We just missed that on the screen. It's a bad observant by me. It's a huge play by Snute to shut those down. While Neeb was maybe focused over to the right-hand side. We'll see a Lone Immortal getting picked off as well. This Warp Prism is still very annoying, but the Corruptors coming out will at least to some extent be able to start slowing this down a bit. As we will see that Snute just pulls away from the center here. As his units come out of stasis, he's able to kind of continue on. And there is just a couple more Zealots going down. Neeb pushing forwards a good amount of Archons, but again, no Storms or anything. I don't feel you can realistically keep on pushing forwards. Another wave of Zealots into the main base, and it's again these massive Zealot Warpins that are just keeping Snute held back and keeping him so busy. Hydroden will have to be rebuilt. As you'll see the Prism getting away with just a few of these units. Again, pushing forwards. Neeb actually going to send his Zealots up to this high ground. Again, just trading out these mineral-based units for whatever he can to slow the Zerg player down and all the rest of it. The Zealots do just sort of commit onto the hatchery here, get it to half health, and now will fall. So not much value there, but man, he's killing so many workers in the last few moments. Snute is down to 53 drones. Now, he can redrone rather easily. And in fact, redrone might not be a bad idea, but he's also still got an army supply lead, Snute, because he hasn't really lost much army. In fact, he's been killing a lot of army at relatively cost-efficient prices. But his opponent is, he's been losing workers. That's the real issue for him. Resources lost dead even, by the way, between the players right now. 3 voids on the way out from Neeb. Just getting ready to fight against the initial corruptors, etc. Not going to go into those longer-range Tempest/carriers just yet. Does take longer to get those out, so obviously just wants something ASAP to deal with the broods that really are just on the verge of being ready now. Ling is at the front, going to trade here. No adrenal glands for them just yet. More broods coming in. We're going to see a nice Ling run by to the left side as well. Neeb will warp in some zealots to begin dealing with this mothership to protect this base at the front. The cloak in there, of course, with no overseer nearby means that those Zerglings have no other choice than to just back away. Again, zealots leading the charge around the right-hand side. Snute will see this right now and will very quickly be able to respond with this Lingbane Hydra Force. Isn't really going to be an issue for him. And that's, again, I mean, maybe Neeb will go a little bit overboard with all the Zealot run buys. I know he wants to just trade out his minerals, etc., but at the same time, he's, when you're not making progress, you're not making progress. And, again, I guess if he doesn't want the Zealots in his composition, then fine, that makes sense. Just wonder if there would have been a better way to do it in the last couple of attempts, because, yeah, I mean, they've had mixed success. The Zealots, I think it's fair to say. Pulling back here, Mothership still overhead, we'll keep everything cloaked up. So it's going to be important for Snute to have multiple overseers in this army, just in case they get targeted down during the fight. It's one of the big plays that a Protoss can make to just make the Zerg's life that little bit more difficult. Kills off not quite one more cannon there before pulling away. Mothership cloaking as well, just helping wherever possible. Snute, though, maybe a little bit of a bait, as he's going to come down into this position here and try and abuse the fact that the Protoss might be slightly out of location, but Neeb does rotate his own army into the right position at the right time. He's not going to let any damage be done. Again, Lings, Banes, Hydras all joining up. The Broodlords are beginning to push forwards up to the northern side now. A few voids in the sky. We'll be looking to see what they can get up to as well. The Hydras getting a good couple of connections initially. Very preemptive storms there, although the second one does hit a few of these broods. Ooh, the High Templar paying with its life as it comes forwards. +2 melee on those broodlings as well, by the way, are so deadly. It makes them do so much damage, and that's why things just disappear. No armor upgrades as well from our Protoss player, which obviously is going to make things a little bit more painful as well in general, while taking some hits. He's going shields upgrades, he's going +2 air weapons. There's no armor at all. Brood's still just going to try and snipe away from a distance. The carriers, of course, going to be one of the bigger issues with that now. And, well, Snute needs corruptors. I think this is the point where Snute sort of realizes that he didn't actually save enough corruptors the first time around. Hydras are trying to help out. They are picking away quite nicely against the interceptors, actually. No interceptors left over just there. But, I mean, it cost him like 5 or 6 broodlords to be able to... it cost him 5 or 6 broods to bait those interceptors out, so... I mean, yeah, I don't think 5 or 6 broods really kind of compares to killing, what, like 16, 20 interceptors. Like, oh no, my 300 minerals have been wasted on your 5 broodlords. What a shame. Yeah. Bane's going to roll into this base here. Actually getting a good amount of workers. In fact, getting pretty much every single worker. Guess the last couple there at the very, very end. 22 probes down. And a few of them did stay alive just to the very corner of this base. So, that's nice. Neeb losing a little bit of his eco here. 7 more cannons on the way up, so setting up a lot of static defense. Also, there's a prism in towards the back of the base, and again, the prism play so far by Neeb has been very scary. Warps in instantly 11 zealots, and gets them ready to just run on in. Snute has to send a lot of Lingbane back to deal with this, and well, there we go. I mean, again, no armor upgrades though against Adrenal Gland +3 Lings. Those zealots will melt a lot faster than you expect them to. And there's still Archons in carriers, High Templar moving around and thinking about where they want to go next, what they want to do next. Still these couple of infestors from Snute looking for an opportunity as well. Again, continue to just complement his own army composition. A couple of infestors will go a long way to just help things out a bit, I guess, as you see again. Moving down the right side, Neeb getting into position, seeing what he can do. Archons will take down an Overlord to begin with. See another Overlord taking a little bit of damage, gets shot down pretty quickly. Here we go, Brood's going to start dropping those Broodlings in. Storm's coming down to try and just weather the storm a little bit before these Banelings connect. Snute He's got a lot of queens. Transfuses keep dropping. The broodlings are still doing a lot of damage as well. Fungal's coming down. There isn't much left for Neeb, is there? It's really hard to tell, honestly. I mean, we're in a position where there's broods against Archons. I mean, the carriers don't have interceptors anymore, so they're not going to be that useful. And you can see the recall back home. Neeb realizing that at the end of this here, he can't keep fighting. However, Neeb has a large bank. And Snute does not have a large bank. In fact, Snute has no bank. He has 80 minerals and 800 gas to his name. I mean, the gas is nice, but believe it or not, you can't just make gas-only units. It's actually something that doesn't exist in StarCraft, although that'd be an interesting dynamic, wouldn't it? Something that costs only gas but no minerals. Might be broken in certain stages of the late game. Anyways, we do see Neeb and Snute really clashing horns, and again, Snute just missing out on the money to rebuild as Neeb immediately goes into triple carrier production. The recall was kind of was really important here because Neeb just retained a lot of these units that he would have lost. I mean, he would have lost everything if he'd stuck around in, you know, another minute or two. So the recall really was hugely important to get those carriers out of there. That means instead of 3 carriers coming in for the next fight, he's going to have 6 because he still has the 3 from earlier. And then he's going to have, you know, a few extra Archons mixed in. And all of that's just going to be little things which don't kind of thin his bank out too quickly. Compared to Snute, who's kind of, well, again, completely drained of money. You're going to try expanding to the left-hand side now. Neeb has just been a base ahead of Snute for a while. Like, this base up here, mining away. It's not been mining for very long, but just already having it mining does help. Resources lost, still pretty even. I guess as well, the fact that Neeb went up to 70 probes so fast, and since then has always been between the 70 to 80 worker count, it's obviously very beneficial for him as well. So a lot of different things and bits and pieces for Neeb that kind of add up to being a very sort of entertaining kind of composition for himself. Going to see an Oracle through the center. Neeb will be looking to see what he can do with this. Hits a Revelation on an Infestor and a couple of Spores. Might not seem like such a huge deal. Might not seem like such a huge deal, but it's very, very yeah, actually, I think is more important than you might realize. You still see pushing forward here these couple of queens. Both of those going to go down. And again, little bits and pieces. Snute has to protect this base, by the way, so he's very much so going to just sit his army over in this location. The right-hand side of the map, while still important for gas mining and minerals, there's not as much left on it. So, you know, what would you rather lose? The base with less minerals and gas? Or the fresh base with more minerals and gas? Yeah, it's kind of an obvious choice. Obviously, if Snute sees his opponent moving over here, he's going to move in that direction. But just in case he's off guard, he would much rather be on the left side than the right side. Neural Parasite coming in from Snute as well, something Stefano used to great effect yesterday against Strange in one of their longer games. It was actually a crazy 30-minute game that the two of them played out against each other. There's still a lot of Archons moving to the south. So army composition is powerful. Oh, hits every feedback. Every feedback on the Vipers. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Vipers can be just so useless in this sort of situation. Storm's going down. He's going to neural some of these carriers. It's a very messy fight. It's very difficult to truly see what's going on. The Brood's still fighting. Queens are doing what they can. The neurals are starting to wear thin, though, especially as the Infestors get killed off. And it looks as though Neeb will regain control of his army, push on through to clean this out. He has the Archons. And with the Archons, he's going to be able to clean the Corruptors, which keeps the carriers alive, which just kill everything else at this stage. Neeb, after the last fight, he looked as though he was going to be able to make it happen, and he was indeed. Again, a few Interceptors remaining, and it is making the life of these carriers a little bit miserable, because the Corruptors are kind of doing so much damage to them. But there is the GG, and Neeb will take it. It's okay. Alright, sorry. Let's go introduce the players. Thank you very much, Daunted, for the $10 sub. Appreciate it, man. Really, really do. You heart as well, because it's important to love yourself. Of course it is, man. I heart myself all the time. I'm like, good job, Wardy. Have some hearts. Thank you. Thank you, self. When else do I get love? Joking, joking. It's okay, guys. I'm not actually sad. It's okay. Thank you for the sub, dude. I know I've said it like 4 times, but I do appreciate it. And with that, let us kick into our next game. Bottom left side of the map from Ting. The Blue Pros player is Neeb. He's going up against the Red Zerg. Didn't quite make it in the late game there on Abyssal Reef. It is Snute to the upper right hand side, representing Team Liquid. Oh look, we've frozen the camera in position again. What else do you reckon we could try? I mean, I know how to fix it for an observer, but I'm just trying to think what you could do to fix it as a player. I think it's just impossible. It's so annoying. I don't know, like, there's literally no way to fix it, I don't think. So dumb. Obviously, again, we can fix that as an observer, because you can jump to someone else's point of view, and in someone else's point of view, if their camera is normal, it then normalizes your camera when you escape their view and go back to the everyone view as the observer. But as a player, you can't do that, so it's kind of strange, kind of weird, and obviously a bit of an issue if you do use the tilting mechanism to do bits and pieces in the game, which, again, I didn't really know many people did, but I know sometimes people like to use it for observer spotting and so on, but I didn't really think it was something which, I don't know, I don't know, like, I don't know, I didn't think it would be something you would have used, like, early in the game, last game, then, you know, when it was an issue and so on. It was interesting. Anyways, guys, this is game number 3 of the series, and we do see, with this tied up 1-1 scoreline, Neeb opting for just a nice standard Stargate this time around. Obviously, last game started off with that 12 pool, and yeah, I mean, it turned into quite a nice macro game from the 12 pool opening. Snute, despite not really, I think, initially maybe doing that much with it, maybe did more than we realized, and was able to kind of keep things a roll. And this Ling just going to jump into the mineral line, and look to see if he can do anything. Decides not to jump into that mineral line. He's just like, yeah, you know what, Wardy, I'm actually going to jump into this mineral line, and then I'm going to run away because I'm getting attacked by an adept. This Ling is making a bid for his life, but he's going to get hit by another adept. Poor guy, man. He almost made it. He almost made it. I mean, not really. I mean, he literally had no way to get out. There was no way he was going to survive this, sadly. Oracle going in towards the upper right-hand side as Neeb will be looking to apply pressure, pick off some workers, and just, in general, pick up information with this Oracle in the early stages. 2 queens on the low ground initially already poking away at the Oracle, which is fantastic. With the second queen, it just makes it so that you can't really justify hitting any of the drones in the mineral line. With 1 queen there's that sort of situation where it's like, well, I can get in, kill 1-2 workers, and then escape just before, just before I kind of take too much damage. With 2 queens, it doesn't really happen. You just find a chance to do damage, though. 3 workers going down as Snute was just trying to transfer away. Could have been worse, Snute with a little bit of Sport Crawler Micro to help himself out there, as he does make 22 lings of his own. Wants to get across the map, apparently, and apply some pressure to the 3rd Nexus. That, slash he might just straight up be thinking about the potential adepts coming across here in the near future. Which is also a very good possibility as to why he's making lings right now. Snute just getting very well. But he's making a lot of lings. Like, he's got 22, he's making 24 more. He wants to kill these adepts and then go and get the 3rd Nexus, I think. This is not just the amount of lings, it's just like, yeah, let's defend this. Pulls back right now. Those adepts should not commit. Now Snute's going to go across the map where he's going to be hoping to catch these adepts. Adepts will shade back towards Neeb's base. And as you can see, he's just going to sit in. Snute, I feel, has been very respectful of these adepts, man. He made so many Zerglings, and he's just like, okay, I'm going to let you go all the way back home. Not really quite what I was expecting to happen just there. A few sentries in front of this pylon. The Phoenix just moving around as well. Now the Lings are going to come in. You know, you got a good surround. I mean, the sentries will pop the trifecta of force fields to keep them kind of blocked in as well. Yeah, I mean, with an overcharge there, the Oracle's back at home. I just don't understand why Snute kind of let the Adepts not, didn't take the fight against the Adepts previously. You know? I just don't quite understand that, if I'm going to be honest. It just doesn't quite add up for me, I guess. Because if you're going to fight anyways, then is it not better to fight the Adepts on their own and then take on whatever else is, like, whatever is in the 3rd base on its own as well? Looking at the positives, Snute did force 3 force fields from the sentries, which does waste a little bit of energy and maybe makes a follow-up push a little bit weaker out of Neeb. And he is currently boosting out an Immortal, +1 on the way. There is a possibility Neeb presses forwards to see if he can get something done with something like a, sort of like a Ling-based attack, I suppose. Sorry, not a Ling-based attack, an aggressive, attack with sort of Immortal Sentry and Adepts. Sorry, I'm making a lot of mistakes today in my casting, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm so tired after the super long cast yesterday. I mean, yesterday I literally woke up, showered, came to the office, turned the stream on, ate at the office, casted for 13 hours or something, turned the stream off, did a couple bits of admin work, went home, ate, and went to sleep. It was a hell of a long day. And having to wake up in time to kind of show up and cast again today, it's definitely caught me being a bit more tired than I thought it was going to be. So I do apologize for some mistakes here and there. I'm definitely misusing words a bit more often than I would like to be. Anyways, Ling's going to hit this left-hand side set of rocks and just going to nibble their way through there. Storm is on the way up from Neeb as well. We're going to be seeing that charge upgrade. What's coming through? Are these oracles again doing damage? What's... Yeah, there it is on the gold base. Ooh, that's nasty. 6 workers, nearly a queen. We'll get a 7th worker as well as he leaves. This queen is still likely to go down. Oracle's still alive. Value so far is the name of the game from Neeb. 16 kills between 2 oracles. In fact, that's more than usual. Only 1 adept lost this game, and just look at the resources lost. 1700 to 125. And the thing as well that I don't like about this for Snute, let's look at the income graph. It's Neeb favored for like the entire game, because Snute has been on a lower work account to make that massive spam of Lings initially. He's just been on such a lower work account than you would expect him to be. It's a little bit of a fun game these Lings are playing, isn't it? What is this? Are they just patrolling? What was, they're just trying to get there and then hold position. These two don't know how to go. Oh, hey! And as they all stop, they move off. That was rather amusing. As you do see the Storm upgrade about to finish up from Neeb again. The +2 forge, +2 upgrade on the forge is going to be finishing also shortly. Really just the same old composition from Neeb. I mean, we've seen it so much recently. PvZ is getting to this sort of stage where people know what it's, people know what's best to play. And people just keep on playing the same things because it is effective. And it's just the classic same old Neeb right here from game number 2 as well. Zealot into the main while he's pressuring with the main army at the front in such a way that he's going to be making sure to pull enough back and to distract Snute well enough so he can justify being aggressive with this army towards the front, and so that he isn't just going to get surrounded and killed off in a couple of seconds and be like, oh crap, should have stayed at home. 8 drones killed as well, again just limiting this economy. The Prism in range of the Spore Crawler is actually a hugely unfortunate situation, because he could have had a whole bunch more Zealots in there. As it stands, he cancels it. Better not to lose the War Prisoner, of course. As we see the Prism coming through towards the upper right-hand corner, and well, Neeb will just keep on expanding. I mean, it is Proxima Station. If there's ever a map we're expecting in the later game, it is probably Proxima. And if, I mean, Proxima and Abyssal are similar in actually a lot of ways, I feel. They're both the kind of 2 maps in this older map pool now, which you can take multiple, you can go past free bases on very easily. Like, the free bases come pretty easily, but then once you've got free bases, the 4th and 5th base become even, even easier than the 3rd base in a lot of ways. So no real surprise to see Proxima Station begin to just play out the same way that Abyssal Reef did. Single stasis ward here to the top side, and Ling Bane, great storms, the stasis as well. Double stasis, one to the south. And Neeb will just move forwards with that to clean out some creep. He knows how many of those units are caught, and the storms as well really chunked away at so many of those Banes trying to roll forwards, and well, Snute will be in an unfortunate situation here as those Hydras and Banes pop out. What's he going to do? Oh, great force fields. Traps the Banes in. The Hydras do manage to just about slip away. And, well, for the most part, though, another couple of great storms continue to land. A lot of those Lings battered and bruised. Some of the Hydras taking some shots as well. And as the first Broodlord's coming up, we do see Neeb hitting his own late game with the carriers beginning to produce the +1 air weapons is about to finish up. Graviton Catapult, a way for him to go in towards just, again, more effective carrier usage. As we see the Prism still alive. It's actually a new Prism, so he's just replaced that again. He knows how important the consistent attacks in multiple different locations are. Just continuing to pull Snute back, continuing to work his way through some of this economy of Snute and just slow him down. I mean, these Zealots just have such a great time against these Lings, and what else is Snute going to send back? Like Hydras? Hydras on their own are going to actually get slaughtered by Zealots as well. There's actually nothing effective which really kind of deals with these Zealots, apart from Banes, but the last thing you want is to be sending your Banes back to deal with that number of Zealots, so it's a bit of a tough one, Neeb, with so many stasis wall traps just set up around the center of the map, realizing that they can be so useful moving forwards. And I see a lot of these Zerglings from Snute are going to be moving around as well, having a bit of a think as to what exact direction they might want to go in. One stasis goes off, another one as he tries to back away. It's a minefield out there, only instead of getting blown up, you get trapped in time to forever watch, or, well, for 21 seconds to watch and just look at the world around you. It might be quite peaceful in a stasis. I mean, you can't be damaged, right? So I imagine it's not painful. A bit weird, but it might be quite peaceful. Like, you're in the middle of a big war and you're one of the units that gets caught in a stasis, you're looking around, you're just like, it's quite serene. When you see the Archons and Storms just murdering your brethren around you. Bit of a, like an odd serenity, I suppose. As we do see the Oracles, seeing if they can do much at the front. I mean, again, the Oracles at this stage of the game are revelations, so that he can just utilize his range of his units and just keep track of when exactly Snute might be looking to push forwards for an engagement, just so he can again micro-correctly put his units in the right places as a response. His Spores still taking a lot of damage. Storms come down, and we do see, again, the Spore Crawlers is taking a few more hits as well. +3 melee, +2 Carapace coming in from Snute in the time in this. So he's continuing to upgrade while these units push forwards. We see again the Spores taking a lot of hits. Nice Storms to the side. And still pushing on forwards. We're going to be seeing these Corruptors are going to be, will actually push back. Again, Snute, he didn't take good trades early in this game. And he hasn't really done much to kind of make up for the kind of worst trades he took earlier. And on top of that, again, he took bad trades. And he didn't have great economy. We talked about that earlier too. And all of these things are just adding up right now to allow Neeb to take these fights, which just look so convincing. You can see here, Snute's had very small moments where he's taken an advantage lead. More recently, he's taken a bit of an income lead too. Armies in general, Neeb taking a bit of a supply lead most of the game. Yeah, I guess the fights haven't been too bad. There was these few moments here, which was really bad for Snute. That was kind of the last time we saw kind of the larger fights when the Banes got trapped and Sass Swords, etc. That's the sort of area where Snute really did fall down and spend a lot of his bank, though, and that's where that resources loss difference has come from in this game. And that's why Snute has to be careful and find something to keep himself alive here, because otherwise it's going to start looking like Abyssal Reef. The only difference is, for now, Snute is continuing to expand and he is getting extra bases, and so for now he will remain with a bank, something he did begin to struggle with on Abyssal. I love these run-bys. I mean, this is the sort of thing that is going to do some work for Snute. Cancelling or killing cannons even. I mean, that's already just 600 minerals down the drain, still going, but Snute is in trouble because he's in the fight at the same time, and he doesn't really have a response to this fight. He's just going to back away, letting his Lings do a lot. I mean, now he's going to pull some of these Lings back. But what are they going to do? Run into all of these Archons and just get... Oh my god, that's not even beginning to be... Oh, okay, I nearly threw up in my mouth. Those Lings, one storm into the Archons, they all disappear. GG, just like that. As soon as Snute was starting to do something, people who want to watch multiple games, and stuff like that. Well, I mean, it's nice just to have one game at a time. And as you do have to the bottom left-hand side of the map, our blue Zerg player, give it up, guys. We're going to be cheering on Team Liquid Snute. Hey, it's Snute. Woo! Bottom right, red Protoss player from Ting. It's Neeb. No, Neeb. Gonna go Nexus first. In-base natural. Why not? Massive map. Wonder if Snute goes free hatch before pool. We barely ever see free hatch before pool now. I wonder if it's just... I guess it just doesn't really make sense when you can go hatch, gas, pool, third hatch so quickly anyways. You know, there's that point where it's just unnecessary to do too much else, right? And to, like, you know, to turn it up another level, I suppose. So there's the pool coming down alongside this extractor in the main base of Liquid Snute. I do wonder who's going to make it out of this group. I mean, this is the group of death. It really, really is. And, I mean, this is just our first matchup in the group of death today. Obviously, after this, Bjorn and Serral. I mean, it is kind of crazy. I'm just going to be straight up honest. Like, Bjorn, Serral, Snute, and Neeb. You could imagine those being the top 4 players in the tournament. Like, you can imagine those being the semi-finals. It's crazy. It really, really is. Again, other favourites for the tournament. Well, already out of Group D, advancing Gumiho and Bly in first and second place, respectively. And then in other places in the tournament, Showtime will be a favourite in Group B. Halston took down Bjorn the other day, and he is in Group A, so he'll be one to watch out for today, obviously. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting as we do see this probe just coming in towards the main base, and has just been across the map to see what's up early. Double gate as a follow-up to the Nexus first will allow Neeb to apply a lot of pressure right away. He's actually getting a Stalker and a Adept, so the Stalker will be able to poke away Overlords. The Adept will be able to do the usual push across the map, get some information, get some scouting, maybe, if lucky, find himself a drone kill or two as well. Twilight Council does drop on down, just to the side right here. These couple of Lings of Snute continue to move on through into the main base, looking to see what is happening, and again, just going to be seeing Words. Words, words, words. You know, sometimes words do mess me up a little bit. Sorry. Ling gets in, and he's going to clean that Ling up. Adept moving across the map. Quickly going to answer a question in the chat from Nakad. Do the donations here go to Take TV? If you type in !B, you will find the donation link if you want to donate to Take TV. If you donate just like you regularly would to this stream, like for our donation link, it is just going to go to this stream and to me. So if you want to support Take TV, we do have that link available for you guys. It's !B, so like you want a bracket, so !bracket works as well. That'll be the Take TV donation link if you want to support Home Story Cup, which I highly advise you do. Because it would be awesome to have another Home Story Cup, obviously. And this entire event is designed around, you know, promoting and fundraising for Home Story Cup in the coming months. Resonant Glares being chronoed. ZvP will be finishing up in just a couple moments. Again, a couple of adepts on the way out at the moment, and they're going to be able to sit just behind this middle line. Man, I keep looking to my side, and I think I see things moving. It's really weird. Sorry. We're going to see something very different out of Neeb. The double Stargate. Going to go for a lot of Phoenix and a lot of harassment heavy plays here in the early stages of this game. So going to be going like super harassment heavy. Looking to do a lot of damage early. Against Snute, who's actually, well, actually hold that forward, because Snute doesn't have an Evo chamber. He's making a lot more Lings. Bane Nest coming up off of just 39 workers. Snute might be looking for a bit of aggression himself. It's not often we see the Bane Nest quite this early. So if he wants to look to shut down these adepts and then counterattack, well, that could go very well for him. The first few Lings going to move forwards here. The rest going to come in from behind because Neeb isn't expecting it. He's going to grab every single one of these adepts. I mean, yes, they're kind of in a little bit of a better position because of the fact that they're like, across the side of this ramp. But that's a huge pickup by Snute. It was very well done, hiding a lot of the Lings up here, so Neeb felt very safe to kind of move forwards. Look at the response from Neeb, though. He realizes that there's a lot of unity, and he realizes that that's a possible kind of, you know, threat to himself. So, because of that, he's going to be going into the double Oracle, rather than the Phoenix play that he would have usually gone for. Now, Snute, I actually really did think he was going to make a lot of Banes here, but he isn't. He's just going to macro out of this, so... I don't know, man. Like, maybe I'm just completely really bad at misreading games right now, but, like, this is kind of Snute just kind of doing, I guess, the exact opposite of what I thought he would. Like, I thought this was going to be Banes and busting through and all the rest, but no, he's just going to sit safe and sit tight and back away a little bit. Ling's going to be coming up in towards the center of the map. Fourth hatchery from Snute is positioned to the left-hand side of the map as well. Starting to get that set up and ready to go for himself. Fleet Beacon coming down as well from Neeb, +1 air weapons coming in from the Cybernetics core. And there's the Evolution Chamber as well from Snute coming in behind the mineral line. Also a second Spore Crawler in the main base. And again, this squad of Oracles is going to move in towards the mineral line. He wants to move in towards the mineral line, decides not to in the end. And the rest of these Zergons from Snute just going to back away in towards the center of the map. The Oracles want to know what's up. They want to see what's happening. They want to see what they can get up to. As you see both of those Queens continue to push on forwards. And again, a little bit of damage here and then onto these couple of Oracles. And again, I guess the Oracle's going to just keep on flying around. Again, he made these Oracles because he was sort of feeling like this was a maybe a big aggressive attack coming in from his opponents. And it kind of was, but then in the end he didn't actually have to use them too much. So now he's just looking to see what he can get done with them instead. Meanwhile, he's now going to start going into carrier production. It's actually something we saw a bit of yesterday as well. I can't remember who we were casting, but they went into, was it Showtime, I think? Went into double Stargate, and he played this sort of similar style where he went into a couple carriers at a time eventually after Phoenix. But instead of, like, you know, he didn't just kind of focus on the Sky Toss. He did throw down Forges, he did throw down kind of a Twilight, and he made sure to still invest into the ground army. So it was a good mix of carriers and ground army by the time the game began to wrap up, you know. So it was kind of an interesting game. I actually really liked the way it played out, so I am intrigued to see how this looks when Neeb plays it out in a similar sort of way so far. You're going to throw down the third Stargate already. Snute currently just going into Pathogen Glands, a bit different from what we've seen so far. Does he not have an... no, he doesn't. He doesn't have a Hydroden. So he's going to go into the Pathogen Glands, the Spire alongside the Hive. And Snute going to set up in towards this. It's an interesting one, as these Lings are going to come through and they're going to start working their way through those rocks on this left-hand side, so they'll be getting killed off in the next few moments. Farewell, rocks. It was nice knowing you. Eventually. The Lings eventually take it down. Takes a while, but he gets there. He gets there. This Oracle going to pull away to the side then. And the rest of the Oracles again looking to see what's up. Looking to see what is happening, which is going to be actually finding the tail end of these Zerglings moving across the map. Snute runs into one stasis ward, will be thinking about backing away, doesn't really know. Sees the carriers now, and oh, he's going to run into another stasis ward. These Lings getting heavily caught up here. And because they're so kind of separated in the times they got caught, the few that are around are probably going to get kind of just blocked in. I'm surprised Neeb pulls away. Apparently he doesn't want to kill those Zerglings. What a nice guy. Okay, now he's going to come in. He's going to try and sit on top of these Zerglings. And these ones will also be able to pull away pretty quickly. At least he gets a couple more kills like we were expecting him to. Still is Quad Oracle kind of squad in this guy. The Quad Oracle squad. Wow. I love it. Oracles actually do a surprising amount of damage. And so once there's 4 of them up, it can do way more than you might be usually expecting. As we see the Oracles right now just getting pushed away by those Queens. Queen's doing a pretty decent job with it. Couple of carriers and the mothership going towards the main base. And start working his way through this extractor and just continue to harass here over the next couple of moments. Again, just finding opportunities to get little bits and pieces of damage done, of course. And, well, right now, Snute doesn't really have a response. Like, he's only just beginning to build Corruptors. He actually only has Infestors and Queens as anti-airs, so to fight against 4 carriers is not really very easy. Snute is about to say goodbye to this hatchery. Farewell. Nice knowing you, you know? I mean, this is a really nice game for Neeb because, whoa, catches the High Templar. 1, 2, and he will go for the 3rd, and he should get it in time. That's a nice pick-off by Snute. I was going to say, it's nice to see Neeb kind of just going the carries a bit faster. It's a bit different from the last games, where obviously he eventually reaches late game and he has to hit the carriers, otherwise he doesn't have a way to fight against Snute. This game, again, it's a cool build just to change things up a bit, do things a little bit differently, and just to kind of, again, set up against his opponent, I guess, and well, right now we do see these carriers still just moving in towards the center of the map. Lings, Infestors, Queens, all gathering up together. Snute will start throwing down the spores, and again, preparing for the late game. I mean, he has to. He's got a couple of ultras on the way up. It'll be intriguing to see how he utilizes those into an advantage. You know, how he uses them to kind of justify the cost. Because, I mean, ultras are not kind of cheap units to kind of come by. It'll be interesting to see how they do get used here in the coming moments. I mean, the idea, I guess, with the ultras is they're going to have a lot of armor, so they can survive some carrier shots and then deal some good damage on the ground in general, and just be able to push through a bit better than a bit better than you might think they would. So a lot of Lings to this top side, and we're all going to see those rocks taking some damage. Storm comes down, and Oracle's taking a little bit, taking a couple of shots as well, and still bits and pieces being done. Overseer gets picked off as well, and these few Zerglings to the south side from Snute. I'm going to be sat over there as well to see what else is happening. Units moving forward as we see one Spore Crawler getting taken down pretty much right away. Recall comes in. Snute was ready to jump onto that opportunity there, but Neeb not going to let him. Meanwhile, this Ling run by getting shut down by Zealots to the side as well. Good defense. As we do see Snute still kind of running around after Adepts, etc. Both players kind of throwing stuff at each other, and, well, the other guy keeps on catching what the first guy throws and just says, okay, that was nice. I mean, okay, whoa, you threw it kind of hard, so it hurt my hand a bit when I caught it, but I'm not really going to let you do any damage to me. Both players just able to, again, shut down this harassment very easily. As the game continues to develop, though, I mean, more Archons coming from Neeb, more Immortals, he's got another Templar. The army of Snute is still very heavy on Lings, and a couple Ultras, some Vipers. I mean, what's he really got, though? Let's look at the unit tab. I mean, 15 Queens is a huge investment in the army for him. And then it is literally 10 Infestors as well, which is also interesting. 2 Ultras, the few Vipers and Corruptors, plus Lings. Now, he does have Neural Parasite, probably one of the ways he's going to try to utilize those Infestors in the coming moments. As things run forwards, and a couple of force fields going down, not doing too much though. Again, these oracles as well, looking to see what else he can get to, and does throw down a revelation. Oracle takes a bit of damage as it gets pushed through the center of the map. The fact that he never really wanted to make these oracles in the first place, but ended up doing so, it's kind of funny, because now they've actually brought so much to the game for him. The revelations he got out of them. I mean, eventually late game you want the revelations as well anyways, so it's actually all worked out really well. Lings do indeed take down this base. Dark Shrine is on the way up, a few extra gates as well, and Snute just now going into that Greater Spire, as here on Undergrounds we're approaching that 15-minute marker. We're approaching what really is true late game with a lot of bases on the map, players with the banks to rebuild. Neeb has a lot of money in his bank right now and he hasn't maxed out, but he might just be waiting for kind of either DT warp-ins, might be waiting for a Prism to get in position so he can make a big warp-in like this. It's one thing you have to be careful of as a Protoss player. All well and good having a Prism out on the map to harass and so on, but at the end of the day, if you have a Prism out on the map and you don't actually have the kind of supply free to warp in, what does it matter? Prism actually gets away to the side as the Corruptors gave up on it for a moment there. We'll kind of turn around and go back after it. Snute looking to catch those Zealots with the Ultras now. You lost a lot of Lings to this already. I mean, there's basically those Zealots already paying for themselves as Snute will get rid of this. Meanwhile, Neeb is pushing through the center though. He doesn't care so much about that attack to the top. Nice Fungal, gonna grab a few units in position right away. And I think Neeb might just be kind of settling for kind of killing a couple of those spores and now backing away from this. So he backs off, and in the meantime, another 5 Dark Templar, 3 more Ultras building up as well. You're going to see the DT Blink upgrade being upgraded here by Neeb. I mean, that's when you know that players have way too much money to play with, because how often do you see the DT Blink upgrade? Basically never, because it doesn't really have that much of a use. It really doesn't, so I'm intrigued as to what exactly the plan becomes now for Neeb. I mean, obviously, if you're just going to use DTs as part of the harassment and you have the money, then the DT Blink might help you out here and there, but we will see. Ling's going to try and run into this. Obviously, the spores will act as a way to, kind of scout and to observe these DTs, and, whoa, hero parasites glitching out a little bit there as the recall came in, and the targeting came in just a little bit too late. These Lings, again, do not clean up. This is the problem right now. Snute's mobile mobile defense forces. You do see some nice abducts to kind of save this base. He's abducting this DT around. It's still going to get the kill. No, it does. That DT just getting the last shot off there was absolutely crazy. As you do see, Zealots open and running in towards this base over here as well. And keep on going for some more damage. Archons and Void Rays in the center. And try and do something. We see a couple of those Voids splitting out. Parasitic Bomb is doing a little bit too. Recalls the Mothership? Oh wow, the Mothership gets recalled, but the rest of the units get left out here. That was interesting. Meanwhile, we do see these Zealots continue to do huge damage. The Ultra's a bit sturdier against them, and a bit of a better way to be able to keep on defending at this sort of point. So I like that, rather than the Zerglings that I've kept running around after Zealots and so on and so far this game. The Ultras do feel much like a much better option, I suppose. Again, this army just moving around and looking to see what it can get up to. Does Neuroparasite a Corruptor there, but the Infested doesn't really last all too long. Good feedbacks and good storms to help pick it off. Snoot's still trying to fight this. A couple of abducts being used now just to split the army up a bit. Carrier will go down very quickly. Once again, Neuro's a Carrier and a Void. He's going to try and use those to kind of target what he can. Recall comes in. Can't recall the units that have Neural though, because they aren't yours to recall, buddy. And they keep on just, currently using the Archon to kill the Void Ray. And then he will, I guess, just use the Carrier to kill the... I actually really don't know. I mean, he's going to kill it in the end anyways, right? So, the Archon actually gets out of there alive. Don't know. Whoa, DT Blink to the side. Going to get those DTs in position a bit faster as he continues to harass this Prism to the south side. Just not doing anything. This Archon joins back up as though nothing ever happened. He's like, yeah, I definitely didn't kill half of our own forces on the other side of the map. Trust me. I didn't let myself get mind control. Let me join the team again. DT is going to keep on moving around. They are being pretty annoying, and currently Snute is just being pulled all over the place. A crazy game at the moment here on Underground. Snute tries to retake this base, but considering that's where the DTs keep warping in from... Oh, that was so sick! Blinks to the other side of the hatchery to pick up the kill before the Ultras killed him. So sick. Just little bits and pieces of Neeb, and it's all adding up. It's pushing him into better and better position where Snute keeps after expending a huge amount of his bank. He's having to rebuild tech. He's having to, rebuild hatcheries. And in the meantime, Neeb is just all like, yeah, that's cool and all, but here's me, check me out. I'm just like, killing all your bases and denying your eco with a 5k bank. What you gonna do? As we're just gonna be seeing the, again, a few drones getting picked off here and there. Just DTs, what a surprise. All over the place. DT doesn't have blink, actually. It was on cooldown. A few more carriers coming up from Neeb again, just rebuilding this kind of stability in the sky, which has been so important for him throughout so far. Again, pushing forward, we're going to see these Archons as well, going to work their way through these few spores, so some good damage being done. Spores continue to drop down here. Some very good damage being done, actually, as again, spores will keep on disappearing. Carriers picking off a couple more here in the end, and actually the new Spire is going to be found. This is a big issue for Snute. If he's losing a Spire, I mean, only has right now his production structures, has a spawning pool and an infestation pit. There's only so much he can build. Recalls to keep himself alive on the mothership, but now the rest of the units are out here on their own. Neuroparasites come down. Is Snute going to win a fight? It looks like he will. He's going to crush this fight, actually. The two carriers left in the sky, actually, Infest is getting set off by the Stasis Ward. I mean, he's going to kill off everything. Snute pushes this back, obviously the issue being that Neeb can just warp in so much more because he still has a huge bank, and even if Snute does have money, but he doesn't have any structures to warp in from. He needs to rebuild a Spire, he needs to rebuild a Hydra Den or an Ultra Cavern and whatever. Like, he needs a hive before he can rebuild the Ultra Cavern. Zealot warp in from Neeb is effective, and this is going to be goodbye top left-hand base. Doesn't matter how many Infestors burrow next to the Zealots. Won't really change anything in this situation. Ultras will come in to eventually clean this out, but again, a lot of drones have gone down, and even though Neeb has just taken in, well, even though Snute has finally found a great fight, he just doesn't have a follow-up. Look at this, 3 Immortals, 3 Carriers, 3 Harkons. He's just going into so much in terms of reproduction that again, he's spending his bank, but Snute still can't spend that bank. Spire is rebuilding now, the spawning pool is just about to finish. I mean, what does Snute build first? Does he wait for the hive and go Ultra Cavern to get more Ultras out? I mean, he might just want a couple more Vipers once again. I mean, whatever he needs the structures first, and I mean, he's going into 5 more Infestors. Almost feels as though he's building more Infestors simply because it's the only thing he can really build. I mean, Lings at this point aren't going to change too much. DT once again cancelling the space down here. The fact this is Snute's natural expansion, and he'd only mined 800 gas off of it, and very low number of minerals throughout the game. Obviously, he kind of expanded here and here initially, but yeah, losing those to those carriers early, and he's just never been able to re-establish this position. Neeb to the far right side is continuing to expand though, and that's something which Snute's not being able to do anything about, and that may be where the Lings could come in useful once again, send some Lings up to this direction. But then you just have Zealots can warp in on point, straight away. Though Neeb right now is maxed out, so if a Ling run by was to hit that at the moment, it could be a bit more effective. Vipers on the way. The Hive is finished building. Snute still has to decide what he's going to spend the rest of his money on though, because he still is not maxed out. And as he does take the very far top left base, able to keep on mind to some extent here, as the DTs will just pick away at the bits and pieces. He's going to kill off this Spore Crawler, or try to. Nice transfuse to keep it alive, and DT will indeed go down in the end. As Vipers pop out, you're going to see another warping of units up here, but the Ultras are actually very close. It's actually just mass DT though. Oh man, the Fungal Grove could be huge if he saw those, but he just doesn't see them. 2 Queens will go down super quickly. And you see the main army at the same time pushing down to this direction. These DTs are just going to kill everything. 16 drones already down. The Hive, which is just rebuilt, is going to be targeted. I mean, he's got an Ultra Cavern and a Great Aspire on the way. It means no more Viper production, though. He does begin to rebuild the lair instantly. Infestation Pit will fall too, so that means a long time until the Hive is back up in the game. Is again pushing up the left side. DT's just picking away at everything, and Snute is down to just 24 drones. He has an army which he can fight with, but the problem is, even after a fight, he's going to have to win so convincingly because the 5k, 4k bank from Neeb is not going to disappear on its own. Not a chance. So he has to still really find a way to make something happen. Storm comes down. It's just not even going to look for another fight, even though he's got so much army. He just knows he doesn't have any further mining, and Neeb just harass.